Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another chapter of Experiencer Interviews. And today we've got another amazing soul coming to us from the US. We have Danielle Oberosler on today. Now, tattooing 31 years and seeing ghosts since she was a child, Danielle had a spiritually transformative experience from dealing with her haunted house. She is also the author of the book, The Haunted Guesthouse, a true story, a story that was made famous on the true horror documentary series called Paranormal Witness: The Pit. Hiring a shaman to help her, she began experiencing more positive beings like the fairy realm and extraterrestrials. Now, after many ET downloads and upgrades, she can use her art background to draw spirit guides. So, Danielle, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you.
Yes. So to start off the interview, which came first? Because I know you had a lot of paranormal stuff happen to you, and you've got a lot of third eye ET type of contacts happening. So which came first?
The paranormal things happened first, and they would happen a lot since I was a child. I would wake up and there would be people around my bed. Sometimes they would be really in my face, like their face would be really close to mine, and I'd just open my eyes and they'd be right there. And I didn't really know what they wanted or what they were doing, and I never got any real answers about it. So that was happening since I was a kid. And then I think I don't know if you experience this, but like when you first wake up, you're still in like a hypnagogic state or hypnopompic. I know there's the two words where one's before you fall asleep and one is as you're waking up, that you're still in that like brainwave where you're a little more clairvoyant. So I think that's why I always would have that kind of stuff happening around my bed.
Yeah, I've had both actually.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. My first time was I think back in 2005. Just before falling asleep, I was uh, like on my side. I used to sleep on my side. And I was looking at the bedroom closet, and the air in front of it started to bubble up a bit, like energy
Mhm.
rising from like heat rising from hot pavement. And I saw my brother's face in that bubble of energy, and his eyes were closed, and his head was tilted to the side. And I had this feeling that he was dying or drowning. And a week later, my mother calls up to tell me that he was at the hospital getting massive blood transfusions because the medication he was taking was killing him, and his blood platelets were severely low. So he had like transfusions for the entire week to get him back up until his body flushed out the old medicine. And so I had like a premonition of sorts that he was something bad was happening, and but like a week before.
That's
And that,
interesting.
yeah.
I had something kind of similar where I didn't know what it meant, but I kept dreaming that I couldn't use my legs. And it was happening for like 6 months. I could not use my legs. And then one day my dad calls me and he says that he couldn't use his legs for 3 days. And then he went to the hospital finally on the third day. I don't know why he didn't go right away, but he was having a bad reaction to a medication he was on. And I think, I don't know how I could have translated that to mean anything about my dad when I dreamt it was me.
Wow.
But I think we're very connected to our family. And so like if somebody is struggling or, you know, having a health problem, you might tap into that on a subconscious level. And I've noticed if I have a night where I'm not falling asleep, like I'm awake a bit longer than normal, I'll just be laying there. But it's funny because I'll see my family members and friends. I know they're sleeping and they walk through my room like on the astral. I could see them walk through and they say some stuff that's like gibberish, and I'm like, oh, they're sleeping. My daughter will walk through all the time. My daughter always comes through my room. So we do like, kind of leave our bodies when we're sleeping, and I think we can connect with each other.
Coming back to the people that came to you as a kid, now were they relatives, dead relatives, or people you knew?
I didn't know them. And it's like every house I ever lived in. it happened. So I just figured, either every place has some ghost activity or there's like spirits just wandering around. I understand better now what was happening, but it took me a long time to figure it out.
Now, how long did this happen to you? Like, what did was this always like every a thing that happened to you every day, every month?
It wouldn't be every day. Now it's every day. But, if I fall asleep quickly and I wake up and I pop out of bed, I'm not looking around to see what's around, but like now, yes, I go in my room and I get in bed and I can see like so much activity around the room.
Sure.
It's every day.
Now, did um did anything bad happen because of it?
Yes, I would say because, I bought a haunted house and the spirits that were here weren't very nice, and we would get scratches, bruises, dragged around, cigarette burns, permanent scars, like lots and lots of activity. And people are, they always want to believe that there is, more than this, but they don't believe it unless they experience it. So they would want to spend the night here, and I'm like, I just don't really I don't feel like it's safe. Like I don't want somebody to get hurt. So I dealt with that for like 13 years, and that's why I ended up like I tried to get the house cleared by a lot of different people, and they never could do it. Like I don't care, holy water, sage, priests, you name it. You can think what you want about how to clear a space, but none of it worked. And somebody finally said to me, "You need to hire a shaman." And so that's when I connected with the shaman that I still see. I hired him 4 years ago. He didn't come to my house. He had me come to him, and I didn't think it was going to work because how can you clear a house without going to it? you know. But I kept the appointment because the activity had ramped up, and it had gotten so bad that they weren't letting us even sleep at night, um, because they were just like it would be like demons jumping on your body. You could feel like, I don't know, it wasn't a human. Always, it wasn't always a human. So, anyways, I wasn't getting any sleep at night, and it had gone on for about 6 weeks with that sort of really bad high ramped up energy, where we tried even sleeping in the RV, like outside. We were in our camper, and all the activity went out there. My daughter tried to spend the night at other people's houses, and the families would get attacked at their house, and all this. So I go see the shaman. I lay on his table, and he looks at my chakras, and he says that I'm leaking energy from my root chakra. So he deals with some. I didn't really feel like it was a particularly traumatic thing from my childhood, in fact, but he dealt with this little tiny incident, and then he goes, "All right, you're not leaking energy anymore." So we've cut off energy to the ghosts, which were bikers, because my house is in this biker neighborhood that the Manson family used to run around, and that's a whole other story. But he said, you're not feeding the energy anymore to the biker, so I'm going to throw him in the light. He's gotten weak. And I said, well, what's his name? And he told me his name was Tim. And then I said, was he a Hell's Angel? And he said, no, he's Satan's slave, which Satan's slave was the other gang in this neighborhood. So, and if you know about Manson, he was hanging around all the bikers. So he threw him in the light. He's what he's told me. And I thought, this didn't work. I'm going to go home. It's all still going to be there. But it wasn't, it was better. The really mean biker was gone. Oh, and I also said, what about his demons? I know he had a couple demons. And he said, yeah, he had two with him that are also in the light. And I went home, and the house was so much better. There was still some stuff, Like, but I had brought my daughter because, I wasn't sure which one of us this stuff was attached to, because even if she spent the night somewhere else, it went there with her, but it still was with me too. So I was like, what is happening here? Why is it following both of us? But he said she wasn't leaking energy. She was all good. Um, and he said that she actually was very clairvoyant and had all these abilities, and that I didn't need to keep hiring a shaman to clear my house, that she could do it. And he just told her quickly, like, this is what you do. And so when we got home and there was still a little bit of stuff going on, she admitted, because she wasn't telling me at the time, that she could see everything. She thought she was going crazy. But she admitted that she could see it all. And then she started clearing the house herself.
Um, Regarding the spirits that came to you, do you know if they came from different time periods? Because I'm interested in one story. A past guest of mine, David Parker, he as a kid with his grandmother, they'd be on the front porch and they'd see a whole bunch of people that were wearing well like military garb from those from the South
Yeah.
used to wear. So I'm not sure if you had that type of experience.
I have stayed, I was like living around Washington, D.C. for 4 years, and I was in Virginia and North Carolina. I'd go down and I would be close to those battlefields where, big um, wars happened and whatnot. And I remember that was the one that was in my face. I woke up one night and this man's face was right here, like right in my face. And he had some old military uniform on, and his glasses looked like the frames were handmade, metal, and his hair was really short. And he was right in my face. When I woke up and I saw him, I said, "What do you want? What are you trying to do?" And he just backed away and took off.
I used to watch a lot of ghost videos back in the day, EVPs,
Yeah.
and I was kind of spooked one time. I think I probably attracted something because when I'd watch these type of videos, I'd feel like something jump into me, like somebody jabbing your back, doing this. It's like something was coming into me, and eventually it stopped. But I told them like, get off, and but yeah, I was really really into that because my whole family was into to ghosts, and we didn't know anything about ETs, but we had like a lot of ghost stories in the family. So when the ET stuff started happening, I wasn't really afraid of that. Um,
Yeah, I
did you?
think that's saying, like, where your attention goes, your energy flows type deal. Like if you're putting a lot of attention to the paranormal, you know, you may, you know, you may inadvertently attract and um, bring it around more.
Yeah. Did you ever have sort of like black type of entities, ghost? What's the name? Shadow beings?
Oh yeah, yeah. Those are multi-dimensional beings. They're not humans. They're like kind of watchers mostly. My daughter sees them a lot. They seem to be able to come into our dimension and out, free will type deal. And most of the time they're just watching, but I don't know, maybe maybe half the time they kind of mess with us and are, moving our things or trying to I had one that was pressing on my chest every night, and I thought I didn't see it, but I thought, I was having a heart attack, or I'm like, oh, what is that? Is this what a heart attack feels like? And my daughter told me, yeah, you've got one of these shadow guys making you feel scared, like you're having a heart attack, because then I was feeding energy to it. She
How did
got rid of it.
yours look like? Do you know?
Those just look like shadows. And sometimes, I'll notice, like, uh, in your room at night, you'll have a spot of your ceiling where the shadow is just darker than everywhere else. And I try to cast shadows on my ceiling, like try to figure out how that spot is so dark, and I know that I've got something. And it's weird because you might not see it, but I've been like, we had something in the house, and I didn't even know we had it. But I remember I had a spot on my ceiling that was too dark, and I was gonna put my leg out of my blanket, and I'm like, I don't feel like getting scratched tonight. And I put my leg back in, and when it finally started breaking things in the house and everything, my daughter was like, "Oh yeah, it scratches people." And I'm like, I didn't even know it was there really, and yet I knew like I don't want to be scratched, so I'm not gonna put my leg out, for it.
Did they ever like drug you up?
Drug me?
Yeah, okay,
The
that's what happened
shadows?
to me.
No.
Yeah, that's what they did to me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I have not had that happen.
okay. My dad woke up with like a dark, like dark shadowy figure beside the bed. Um, he started having contact with something after I did a C5, called in UFO over the house, and he came out to see it with my mom. And so yeah, he woke up with that. One time I was dating this British abductee. We were supposed to get married, and we had this black hole appear in the bedroom doorway. And I woke up to that. I flipped the light switch on when I saw it, and it disappears. My fiance wakes up, telling me that a man was speaking to her telepathically, saying EMP, electromagnetic pulse nonstop. So she woke up because of that. We know, like, both events had to be like legit. They were happening at the same time, and I fall back asleep, wake up, and I see five shadow beings with huge helmets on, on their
Yeah, well,
shoulders. So
sometimes the ETs they can cloak so that we can't see them, and then I don't know, that can look like a shadow too. So, and reptilians have done that many times to try to hide from me, um, and because they don't want me to see them and stuff, and they've come and done, and I've woken up with them around my bed too, and they try to do that where they look like a shadow. They won't let me see them. They'll try to not let me see them.
okay. And how did you feel during that episode? Did you?
Well, that particular time, they uh, they were angry at me, and they had put like a spike through each of my feet, but it was like through my energy body. It wasn't like a 3D thing. And since they were cloaking, I couldn't see them, and I wasn't sure if they were benevolent ETs or not. Because I've had so many contacts now. And sometimes they do surgeries to fix things about me or implants and things. So I wasn't sure if I was getting help or if they were hurting me. So I had to ask my daughter the next day. I'm like, what was that? And she said, "Oh, yeah, reptilians came and they put these like nails through your feet, spikes, and they ran off, but angels came and took them out of my feet." So I felt it. Just I couldn't see him. And then I had my daughter grab those reptilians and throw them in the light. So she did. And they were mad at me because I had grabbed one of their buddies and threw him in the light. And so that's why they came. So,
Um, Now, regarding your third eye visions, now one of the reasons why I wanted you on is to explain the process of how things happened. Because I had some. My girlfriend would always wake up in the morning, and this sort of connection still in place, and she sees grays or reptilians in the bedroom doing stuff like out of curiosity, pulling drawers, and they've got these tablets and wands and stuff like that. So how does yours happen?
I don't I don't try to connect with reptilians or grays. Um, I had a guide that was Arcturian that I started seeing, and he shapeshifts. He also can look like a human or an angel. Um, so anyways, I started seeing this blue Arcturian. Um, I had a past life as an Arcturian. So at one of my shaman appointments, we talked about integrating my Arcturian life into my current timeline. Her name was Rishna. So she agreed and she entered into my timeline, into me. after that, because my spirit guide was glad to have that happen because he said it was going to make it easier for him to communicate with me. So I started seeing downloads after that because he was sending them to Rishna, who could understand all of it. So I started getting downloads, and that happened quite a lot. And then, I had a Kundalini awakening. I've had all these light body activations and implants and surgeries, and they've they've come and come and come, but nothing with reptilians has been very positive so far, for me. So, and if they're in my room, they're going in the light.
Did you send me a drawing of your guide?
Did I? I did. He is the blue one.
Okay. The two blue heads, the
I drew him straight on, and then I tried to draw that his head, like
okay.
his head is deeper. From the front, you wouldn't know that it's as long as it is in the back. And in the background of that drawing is what my initial download looked like. It looked like QR code in these honeycomb shapes. And what I saw, I closed my eyes, and what I saw, it looked like papers. And I was flipping through these papers, looking at all these different QR codes. And I got the word instructions. And then after that time, I started getting these like lines of type that come around my eye level and then disappear. So that's what the downloads started looking like after the first one.
But that was the first time he came to you.
No, the first time he came to me, I didn't get a download. That was before I started getting downloads after I integrated Rishna. Before Rishna, I just saw him. He would do healings on me and stuff. Like I remember I had COVID once and I was laying on the couch and I closed my eyes and I saw him. Actually, he looked like an angel then. I thought he was Jesus for a second. And I was like, oh, is it Jesus? And he went like this and showed me the wings. I'm like, oh, that you're my guide, Arthur.
Okay. Angelics, did you have a lot of experience with that type of entity?
I do have a lot. So I know that Arcturians shapeshift into angels as well, so that they don't scare us when we see them. I've seen mine both ways. So I just know that, he's either blue or he's the angel, and it's still Arthur. Um, the other angels that have come around, the first one was, well, I didn't know it was an angel. Merlin came around. So I was having a lot of issues with reptilians coming in my room, and they were doing that stuff where they put the spikes through my feet, the typical stuff they've done. And I'd be throwing them in the light, but there'd be like 25 of them in my room. And so I would have to throw 25 of them in the light. And then the next day I'd have more, even more. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? I thought I was in some middle of a war with reptilians. Sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. Bugging me. So then one night I had like 50 of them in my room, and I called in help from my guides, and I saw about 20 Arcturians come in, and we were throwing the reptilians in the light. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was in some sort of war, and I called my shaman to ask him, and he said that these particular reptilians were not shifting with Earth. They were not well, and they needed me to put them in the light. So they were hurting me to get me to do it, because if something's benevolent, I don't throw it anywhere. But they wanted to go in the light, so that's why. So once I knew that that's what they wanted, they stopped hurting me, and I just started throwing them in the light. But Merlin turned up to help me. And I was like, I didn't even know Merlin was real. But I'm like looking at him. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So I go to one of my shaman appointments, and my shaman says, someone's come forward that wants to integrate with you, to work with you. And it was Merlin. And I was like, oh, yes, that sounds great. So Merlin actually, his energy merged with mine. So the next thing you know, I get up one night in a dream and I'm looking in the mirror, but I see an angel instead. It wasn't me and it wasn't Merlin. It was Archangel Raphael. So I start doing research about Raphael, and he is considered like the magician, the sorcerer, that green, sacred green flame, the healer. And I was like, okay, so Merlin is Raphael. I understand now. So that was the first thing. I drew them both actually. I drew Raphael and Merlin. And then my next appointment, Metatron comes forward and wants to also work with me. So he merged energy and I drew Metatron. I don't know if I sent you any of this because we were only talking about ET contact. Um, but Metatron merged energy, and I actually closed my eyes one time and I saw the three of us holding hands, and I saw energy coming up off of them and sort of blending together. So I put my energy in too and blended it, and then it came back at me. But then we were arm locked together, and the energy like went into me. And since then, Uriel, Archangel Uriel came.
Do these events happen to you like for falling asleep or upon waking, or was this something that you initiated?
I didn't initiate it. I didn't call them forward. They just came to me, and I'm not asleep. I'm awake, and I just can meditate. I just close my eyes, and then I can see while I'm awake. And I also do I do direct method out of body, so I can go on the astral. I leave awake because I never remember my dreams normally. Most of my dreams I don't remember. So all of this stuff is awake.
So you're talking about OBEs of sorts?
Out of bodies, yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Do do you remember like going through material when you're out of body, like through walls, stuff like that?
I travel through portals.
Okay.
So I don't usually come out of body in my bedroom. I see a portal open and I just lean and go through the portal, and then I'm wherever. It's not, I don't come out in this uh, dimension here.
Do you remember ever being on a craft?
I do. Now
Okay.
that one was weird. That was really weird.
Okay. So what happened from let's get to it from the beginning. What happened and after that. So
Uh, I just gotten back from Scotland, so I had jet lag, and I had gone to bed really early, and I woke up 7 hours later, but it was midnight, because I had my time was so off. So I'm just laying there, awake in bed in the darkness, and I heard a voice in my head very loudly say, "It was nice to meet you." And I'm looking around, and I said, who is this? I didn't hear anything else. I didn't see anything. But I started, those chairs at those massage chairs, and it feels like you're being like, it's the kneading setting where you feel like little punches on your back. It felt like that. So, but I felt it all over. Like my whole body felt like this really relaxing kneading. And I was like, okay, whoever's doing that, that is so great. You can keep doing that. And I lifted up. Uh, I just floated. I was still like horizontal, like I'm laying down, but I lifted up. I went feet first out of my bedroom. And then I have a small recollection at that point of being seat belted into a chair. And then next thing you know, I'm wide awake again, but I'm aboard a craft. So I was transported, uh, seat belted in. The the craft was weird because it looked like it looked like a trailer from the 70s, like with wood paneling, walls, shag blue carpeting. And I'm looking around going, this looks like an old Winnebago or something, like it's weird. And I could see space out the window. And this girl who looked human was talking to me. Um, she looked like a mix, like African American mixed. Um, 20 years old, pretty girl. And I said something like, next time I come aboard craft, I want to come aboard awake. Like they knocked me out for the transportation. And she said, that's a bigger process. And I said, where am I? And she said, goo goo. And I'm all like a baby. And she said four words that started with like GU, but longer words. And so it's shortened to be goo goo. Um, and I said, I don't know why I said this to her, but I said, I'm still not clairaudient. And she said, yeah, but you've progressed so quickly. Like she knows me. There were these other beings that they didn't look human. I sent you a picture of these ones. They had the four stacked eyes and the pointy head and the little tuft of hair. They were all females, all the transporters that looked human, and all those. I saw four of those beings with the stacked eyes. They were all females. All the people like me that were waiting were also female, except there was one little boy. So they showed me these implants. I was getting the information somehow without her telling me that it was going to connect to my optic nerve, and they were going to see everything that I see and hear everything that I hear through this implant. And I said, will this show up in an X-ray? And she said, no, it's not metal. So I clearly believe that I'm there physically, right? If I asked if it's going to show up in an X-ray, but I have no idea if I was out of body or if I was physically there. I don't know. But why would your astral body need to travel through a transporter and be seatbelted? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answer. So I sat down and I waited for my implant, and the little boy sat on my lap, and he was probably 3 years old, I'm gonna guess. And then I woke up back in bed. I don't remember like anyone telling me it was my turn for the implant. But I will tell you this, those beings with the four eyes, um, they look like they were sitting up in a bed with a blanket pulled up to their armpits. But in my mind, I was thinking they're not in a bed. They don't have legs like us. They're not humanoids, and they're trying to not scare us, so they look like they're in a bed, but they're not. I think they were more like a slug, like a kind of a translucent, iridescent, sluggy body.
Do you think the fact that you saw inside of the ship look like what you explained, what you described? Now, do you think it could have been like a screen image just to make things more familiar?
I mean, I could imagine maybe even other people that were there weren't seeing the same thing as me, but because I've been like somebody who camps, so it looks like the inside of a Winnebago or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know why I didn't walk to the window and look out at space. I don't, I would have wanted to do that and I didn't do that. You know what I mean? So my friend who came over the next day, I was telling him all about this, and he said that he could see them through my ceiling waving at me. I didn't see them wave at me. But another night, I got into bed, pull up my blankets, and I see them waving at me through the ceiling, the four-eyed one. And I go, oh, I wonder if I'm going again tonight. And I just slept through the night. I don't remember anything. But the next morning, my daughter came in my house and she said, Mom, last night something was hovering over our house for like 10 or 15 minutes. It was pretty loud. So I was like, yep, I think I went aboard craft, you know? And then another night I saw a Pleiadian wave at me through my ceiling. And I wondered, oh, I wonder if now I'm going off with the Pleiadians. And the next morning or was it in the middle of the night? My daughter comes in my house and she said, Mom, I just experienced a missing hour of time. That's how come I know she also went.
Did you ever have missing time?
Uh, well, I mean, isn't it? If I don't remember my dreams and
Yeah.
stuff, then
Yeah.
isn't that a missing 8 hours?
Yeah. But I've had a lot of people that were driving on the road and realized that so all of a sudden they're at their destination. Uh,
Yeah, well, my daughter's friend had come over that night and she was saying that she was driving, she was doing a 15-minute drive and she kept seeing a blue light on the side and she kept looking and it wouldn't be there. And then she had a missing hour. And she was telling me that. And then I went into the bedroom and I saw a Palladian who I recognize. I recognize that she's called Daniela. She's possibly Semyase. Semyasa, I don't know how to pronounce, very
blonde hair.
famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blonde one with the braid. She had long braid. Beautiful, the same exact way that she always is portrayed online. I recognized her right away that that's Semyase, that's Daniela, whatever the name you want to go by. Um, so, and then my daughter experienced and her friend experienced the missing hour. So her friend had the missing hour the night before and that night. And, I checked with my pendulum. Did I go aboard the craft? Did they both go aboard? Has my daughter been activated? And, and all that. Yes, yes to implants, yes to activation, and all that.
Have you ever tried to get scanned by a stud scanner or just to see if you've got metal implants?
No,
No.
no, and not all implants are metal. Some of them are just in the energy body, and some of them are physical. So, and some of, even if it's in your physical body, it could be an energy implant. So, I've just experienced so much that, what's the point? And besides, I am working with like benevolent beings, and the implants that I'm getting, I'm agreeing to. So,
As a kid, I had this sort of triangle just above the left knee.
yeah. Are you friggin' kidding me? My friend had the triangle above the knee too, and
Really?
it made his knee painful. Did your
I've
did your
had
knee hurt?
this as, from early on, so I'm not sure if it started off as with pain, but I thought it was a piece of rock underneath the skin for most of my life. So
Did but does it like do you have full range of motion? Because my friend
yeah,
didn't have full range of motion, and my friend has had a lot of reptilian and who knows what, like gray type interferences in his life. But my daughter ran energy through him, and that went away. And it was only energy. It wasn't metal. But I believe it was triangular, and in the knee.
okay. Um, now, I think you used to do a lot of C5s. Did you see anything like noteworthy come to you or hovered?
Yes, I joined a local CE5 group, and we had a small little group meeting where we did CE5, um, and there was a craft above us, although we couldn't see it. I mean, obviously, if I close my eyes, I'll see it with my third eye. What was interesting was I did meditate. I did see that there was a mantis, there was a gray human hybrid above us. But while everyone else was meditating, I opened my eyes and I could see with that craft there, I could see aura on the people in the group. I could see this tube of green energy come down in the center of our group. And then the bottom of it was sort of like looking around at each of us. And I was watching it going, is that a portal? Are they looking at us through that? Like, what is that? And then I saw this green energy rain down on us. And I'm watching it with my eyes open. And I feel like when the craft's around, you can see the energy better than if they're not there. But when everyone was done meditating, they they said that they could feel love and warmth. And I said, well, I saw that energy coming down and raining on us. And then I just went to the Stephen Greer big conference in Temecula with 500 people meditating. And there I could see with my third eye that there was a circular craft above us, and it was full of humanoids, human looking beings, lots of women and children, a couple men. Um, they looked just like us. And I asked them if they were Palladian, and they said no. And then there was 2 nights, so I didn't know what they were, but they looked like us. And then the next night I asked them if they were Yael, and they said yes to that.
Okay. You
And
should
then,
go. Yeah. You
huh?
should go to Mount Shasta.
Oh, I've been.
You've been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of stuff there too. Um, then also I saw a triangular black craft. I saw it flickering with my eyes open. So I closed my eyes and looked with my third eye, and I saw the triangular craft, and I saw what the word I got was Andromedan. And I saw this being that I drew. I don't know if I sent that one to you. I can check our messages and send it to you. But I believe that he is actually kind of connected to Dr. Greer, that he's, you know, family. You know what I mean? Like star family. So I saw him, and so that was cool. And I saw a lot of streaks of light happening with my eyes open.
Let's talk about your Mount Shasta experience.
Yeah, Mount Shasta was cool. The I was trying to get into certain portals from my house. I was looking for a particular portal that had a totem pole in it on the astral. And now I don't remember my dreams, but my brother told me that him and I were doing this at night, that we were hovering around in some craft looking for a particular cave. And he said that I was saying, this cave goes to the Aztec, and past another cave, this cave goes to the Mayan, but I'm looking for the one with the totem pole. So when I went up to Mount Shasta, I was in a meditation retreat. We were doing these shamanic journeys every morning for 4 hours, going out of body. And I was met, one of the times I was met by an archangel named Terra. It's spelled Terra, like earth. She's very earth oriented angel. And she took me up to the very top of the mountain. And when I got in there, I saw the totem pole I had been looking for. And I followed her in, and I watched her put her hand on the totem pole. And so I just followed her, and I also touched it. It was some sort of activation. I don't know why. But that's what I had been looking for and trying to do. I've heard that we leave things for ourselves from other lives. And that if we go through certain portals and things, we can start accumulating. Um, it kind of makes me think of a video game where you pick up a new tool, a new weapon, a new whatever. We leave things for ourselves. And so I don't know if I had left something for myself that I needed to get there, or if I was helping to activate something there. I don't know.
Did you ever go with the Enrique group?
No.
No.
I went with Danny Shea and Medium Kim. They have YouTube channels.
Okay. Um, I know Grant Cameron also went there, and I think Paola Harris also. They had a pretty interesting experience. Um,
Yeah, Saint Germain manifests physically there, and a friend of mine actually got him on film, appear out of nothing and disappear, like he meditated with her group and then disappeared. Um, I've seen Saint Germain a lot of times. Actually, I don't have to go to Mount Shasta to see him. The shaman I see and Saint Germain, they are energy merged, so they work together a lot. So if I need help and I call in my shaman, Saint Germain comes with. They're always together.
wow.
Not always, but oftentimes.
Let's talk about some of the drawings that you sent me. Now we spoke about your guide, the multiple-eyed person, the brown-haired hybrid.
Yeah,
Okay.
gray human hybrid.
Okay. And you've got one with the that looks like an insectoid or mantid. What's
Yeah,
this one?
mantis. Yeah. I had joined a friend of mine was diagnosed with cancer, and so she had all these lady friends of hers sit around her in a circle. I think there was 16 or 17 of us. And one of the women does Reiki, and so she sort of talked us through running energy together through the one friend in the center, okay? So when I closed my eyes, I saw three ETs at the time there to help with this healing. One was the mantis, uh, the other one was a lion being that I've seen before. He's a healer. And he was with another one from his planet, but that one had a ram head, which was cool because I'm Aries. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And my friend that was in the center, she's an Aries. So I thought, they're here for her. But the mantis, I saw him then, and then I had gone to gone to bed in my room. He pops into my room, and he was 8 to 10 foot tall, hunching because my ceiling is not that tall, right? And he had this beautiful multicolored aura, which is how I drew him. But he was looking at me and he was like, doing this with his head. And he's really cool. I mean, I knew that he was a good, benevolent being because he was already trying to heal a friend of mine, you know? And I think that's how you can tell, like, if something is there, as a benevolent being, you could tell by what they're doing, not necessarily whether they're of the light or dark matter, dark energy. That is a human construct. If they are there to hurt you, they're not good. And if they are there to help you, they are good, you know?
How about the reptilian? Lovely reptilian image. Who's she?
Yeah, don't look too much at that.
Okay.
My drawings manifest. So if you focus too much on it, you're gonna bring it. But that one is funny. I joined a local psychic medium group, and the first meeting we had, there was, I don't know, 15 to 20 people, maybe 15. And we were going around the table talking about what abilities we have. And it was really cool because everyone had different abilities. But this guy in the group, he was saying that he channels a shaman. And he was saying that this stuff happens to him. It's not like he even wants it to happen to him, but he said he levitated, his face contorts, he can't control his body. And I'm like, this is not, I don't think this is channeling. This is possession, you know? So we're sitting there listening to this guy, and my friend and I, about an hour later, we leave, but we didn't feel good and we were shaking. And I thought that I had gone too long since I had eaten, like when you're low sugar. That's what it felt like. And my friend thought that maybe she drank too much coffee. So this is how we're feeling. And we get in the car, we go about 1 mile away, and we're fine again. So I hadn't eaten a meal. She didn't drink less coffee all of a sudden, but we feel better. And we're like, that's weird. The feeling went away. And she goes, you know what? I didn't really like this guy at the meeting. And I said, I don't think it's the guy you didn't like. I think it was his attachment. So I go home and I meditate. I want to see this guy's attachment. I know he has one, you know? And I saw this thing. So my daughter helped me draw it a little bit better because I didn't see it quite so clear. But what I did see, it was trying to make its eyes look really sad, like, I'm a nice guy, whatever. I said that to my daughter. She goes, no, he's not nice. He's bad. He's a bad guy. And so I draw him. And after I drew him, because my daughter was helping me and my daughter was looking at him a lot, my daughter comes in the house and she goes, Mom, I think I just experienced sleep paralysis. And I said, well, what happened? And she said, I was unable to move for like 3 hours. I could hear something stomping around my house. It was slamming doors and throwing things around. My cats were screaming. And I go, honey, that's not sleep paralysis. Oh, and she was being electrocuted. And I'm like, that. So yeah, I think that that guy came around because we looked at it, and whenever I look at something remotely, it sees me and it comes. So you have to be careful.
One time after doing I was in a group, an Australian group on Skype back in 2015, and we meditate together. And as soon as I went to bed, I close my eyes and I connect with something. So I'm seeing the side view of a head, bald head, and it really looked like one of those images where I think where there's the like one of the president's bodyguards was supposed to be ET. There's like an image online. I'll have to try to
But
find that one.
they say it was a reptilian.
Yeah, well, all we saw was the side view, but the head was clearly bald and the face was a bit distorted. So I'm looking at this side view of a head. I start really like concentrating on it because that was my first time seeing something with my third eye. And as soon as I connect with it, it turns around and looks directly back at me.
Yeah,
And I
that's
really freaked out and I came out of it. And never again did I ever try to remote view or whatever.
yeah, when you do that, and that is, I mean, just so you know, like, I was calling it remote viewing as well. You are sending an energy body out of your body, and you are going out of body when you do that. So they see you, you see them, and it becomes almost an invitation. So you do need to, like, I've had to learn, at first my satellite dish was a little too wide. So when I'm trying to connect to somebody's spirit guides, because I get hired to draw spirit guides, when I connect to somebody's spirit guides, my radar was too wide and I was looking at more than just their guides and sending it out too big. And I was getting a lot of like these negative kind of things coming into my room and stuff. So I've had to really learn how to focus it and not have the wide beam and shoot out wider.
Now, talking about the fact that you're hired to draw guides, you sent me a drawing of a blue lady with black hair and a serpent.
Oh yeah. Yes. She was somebody's guide I was hired to draw. She was an Arcturian human hybrid, so mixed. And she had beautiful long hair. And I added the serpent because that I always see the spirit animals as well. So I don't just see, I see the main guide and usually two or three of the spirit team guides. And then I see sometimes as many as three spirit animals um, as well. So I had told the woman, this is, I saw also you have this snake. If you want me to throw it in the drawing, I'll do that. And she wanted the snake added. So
That's cute.
yeah.
Let's talk about your book, The Haunted Guesthouse, a true story. Now, how did that thing come into play? How did that come to be?
I I felt after my experiences with the shaman helping clear the house and everything that we had learned that you know that it would be a good idea to write a book about it because there's so many people. So what happened is the spirits that were here at my house, they didn't want to move on because they were afraid of judgment. They were not good people in their life. And so they thought that if they went into the light, they were going to get like sent down to hell and whatnot. But so I wanted to write the book so that maybe people would learn that, that's not really how it works. You know, you basically, you judge yourself. So people end up putting themselves into the lower astral thinking that they deserve to go to hell or they're not good people and they get stuck down there. And it's not like they can leave. They just don't know. So, I think there's a lot of belief systems, religious beliefs that have either made people afraid to go in the light or have gotten people stuck on the earth in lower astral planes that I thought, well, I'm just going to write this book so maybe there's less people with fear.
There's also a lot of talk about how Earth is a soul trap nowadays.
Sure, yeah, I've heard a lot of talk about that as well.
Yeah. So it's a bit
I
conf
know, and this is the thing, and like I said earlier, where your attention goes, your energy flows. And if you are putting a lot of energy into being trapped, you're going to experience being trapped. Like we are actually creators incarnate and we create our reality. And so if you want to experience that, if you want to keep focusing on, negative experiences with reptilians, go ahead. You know what I mean? I will say that we are a lot stronger than people know. We are connected to source. It makes us really, really actually a lot stronger. And all you got to do is know that and start wielding sitting in your own power.
Now, to finish off the interview, do you have like another story that might want to get out, or perhaps a closing statement?
Um, I am working on a deck of cards now, so I have an upcoming project I'm not quite done with, but it is going to be a deck of cards, like an oracle deck, and it's going to basically outline all the work that I've learned to do from seeing a shaman. And I think it's going to be a really useful tool for people who want to raise their own abilities, raise their vibration, and ascend, you know?
Now, to those that might want to get into contact with you, do they do it through your website?
Yes, I have the tattooroom.com because I'm a tattoo artist. And they can contact me via email through the website, or there's a merch page as well where they can download the book. It's in audio form, print, and Kindle. And also, they can hire me to do a spirit guide reading, which I can just tell you what your team is. You know what I mean? But if you further want a drawing, we can also talk about that as well through my website.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much for coming on. It's been loads of fun today.
Yeah, and also I do have a YouTube channel. It's just my name, Danielle Oberosler. I'll send you the link, and I just talk about like my experiences with portals and ETs and fairies and you name it.
Okay. Well, I'll add that to the description box. So,
Thank you.
Danielle, thank you so much for coming on. It's been fun. And to those watching, hope you enjoyed today's interview. I'm your host, Mr. Great. More interviews coming up, and I'll see you guys next time. So, take care, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Great, and thanks for watching today's episode. If you are an abductee, contactee, or experiencer, and you believe that your story could help others, please feel free to contact me through my YouTube channel email. When it comes to experiencers, the ET phenomena, and the future, remember, truth will out.